Alright, so I wanted to make a quick video. I thought I was making one and just like stopped, so I'll start all over. I wish I had a producer here. I had put an ad out for one and somebody had came and applied and sent me a portfolio, but these gang stalking scumbags tortured the person until they, stopped communicating. They were supposed to help document the building of this bus and everything else. Because if I had a producer, I could show you the supporting evidence I have, but you can look at it yourself by going to the number 6, WAYSHOWER 6 at Instagram.com. You can find the supporting documents for today's subject, which is your heartbeat currency reserve system and trust accounts. In God we trust. Your trust accounts, how they operate, how this dimension, how incarnation works, how reincarnation works, in a semi-outline of the system. I do also have a Patreon the name is X1. If anyone wants to go there and check that out, go ahead. I will never monetize these videos in the sense of putting ads that could break up what I'm saying, because the message becomes lost. Keeping somebody entrained in a message is very important, because it allows the words to flow freely. The moment you try to chop it up with advertising, this is too powerful of a message to interfere with something like that. So if anyone does want to go to the X1 Patreon, go ahead. But other than that, what I wanted to talk about was how your Social Security trust accounts are basically your heartbeat. Every time your heart beats, it creates currency. And with the creation of that currency, it gets stored into several accounts, not just one. There's multiple. And then there's multiple at the international level, and there's multiple at the state level. There's state, federal, and international accounts. And basically what happens is whenever you get excited, you create more currency. If you really like a thing. Also, proprietary patents are issued to these accounts as well. You might have came up with an idea straight up outright and went and followed through with it and brought it to life. That's attached to those accounts. But also, if you just had the idea, like if you came up with an idea, like, you were shaving with one of those old razors, the old straight edge, old school razor, and you're like, wow, we can make a disposable, and you just thought about it, but you never did it. That idea shoots out into the world, and God finds somebody with the resources to push it onto, and they bring it to life, and they make it happen. But you get a proprietary, and almost a perpetuity payment. It would be the closest thing to try to explain to people the way it works. But every time someone enjoys a razor, it creates currency. They look at their shave, oh, what a nice shave. That generates currency. It makes them feel good. It generates electricity, essentially, and it stores in these accounts. The important thing about this system that you need to understand is every country has it. We all have currency accounts, trust accounts. Not every system is called the same thing. In the United States, it's called the Social Security system. In Canada, it's like almost the same name. But every country has it, and the leaders of the countries know. That's why with what you can see going on in the public right now, you don't see any of the high-level people lashing out at God or at people. You see all low-level and mid-level people, because they never knew about this. They fell for a complete hoodwink, and they're the ones unconsciously lashing out at everyone, because now they feel betrayed, because they were like, why are all these top-level people not even getting involved? They know we're headed into the fifth world. They know their trust accounts, and that it's tied to Christ. Think of it like this. Let's just say life went on for 10,000 years. Only until the last 100 years or so. You used to live 35, 40 years if you were lucky. So that's 3 lifetimes every 100 years times 10,000. Let's say on a median average you live 30 lives. But I tell you this, life is going on way more than 10,000 years. You probably each have 100 or 200 lives that you've lived. And the people who got stuck in insect punishment bodies, dude, that could only afford to buy a cockroach or a fly, you've lived billions of lifetimes. Because a fly, you're lucky if you live fucking a day before someone bashes your head in. So I wanted to touch base on that part of this system. This video is actually how people set themselves goals before they're born that they lose sight of once they get here. Now I can use an example of the opposite where it works, but this system doesn't always work for people as far as setting themselves a sight and then trying to accomplish it. I can take Nick Vujicic is a perfect example of somebody who was faced with the most adversity that this world has to offer. The toughest, most people would not be able to walk a second in Nick Vujicic's shoes. but he's the happiest, most loving person. And by 15 or 16 years old, he had reached a state that most humans won't reach until after we go through the fire. I shouldn't say that because a lot of people already are there and they're using fake voices and nonsense distractions to make people believe that they're still insane and that they're having all these crazy thoughts and they're influencing people. But this case, Nick Wojcik, and there's others. I mean, Rowdy is another example of people who set themselves. They were born with no legs, no arms, and they're the most cheerful people, the most loving, the most caring. With all that they've been through in life, they were able to use that adversity exactly for what they wanted to rise above and gain that state of consciousness that is so sought after. Because truly, moving back to like your heart and the whole of love, there's nothing that can compare. No money, no sex, no women, no drugs, no nothing. There's no comparison. Once you find, samadhi or zen, once you get to that place and back into your heart, nothing in this world can compare. But those examples, Rowdy and Nick Wojcik, these are good examples of people who were able to make what I'm about to talk about work. But there's people, let's say a girl, she wants to find true love. She has plenty of currency in her account to build her body however she wants. God created the template. I created male, female in what a human body looks like. Then you were able to go, Madden and create your character. How tall is he going to be? How short is he going to be? How fat is he going to be? That is more of a variable that you can affect actually in your life by continuing to build into your body. But the basic premise, what your face is going to look like when you're fully developed, what your hair is going to look like. You have points. You have to pick all that, dude. You have to pay for every little bit. You sit there for months designing your person and then jump into that body. Now, sometimes there's girls that will decide that they want to set a goal that they're going to create a less than perfect, like less than, poster girl or whatever the mainstream beautiful stereotypically is to our culture. They choose to, with plenty of money in their account now, to set a challenge to themselves that they're going to choose to have a less than perfect body so that they can try to find somebody that loves them for who they are. So they willfully build a body that's homely, let's say, that to purposely keep people who are egotistical and assholes away from them because they don't want to feel that pain. But they also want to attract true love. They think by doing this, they might find the one that will love them for who they are. Now, once they get into the body, the problem is the hoodwink goes on. And as soon as they get here, they turn into life conditions them into that. This is what you're supposed to look like. The girls sticking their finger down their throat. Hollywood pinup bullshit. And often the person loses themselves. And they become the very thing they tried to avoid, which they could work with someone that might be fat or bald or too short, but that loves them more than anyone in this world would ever love, that adores them, that goes after them. And they, forget about him. Oh, my God. Ugh. That's becoming the very thing you chose to try to avoid. They often end up becoming that form of judgment of you're not good enough, you're not attractive enough, you're not pretty enough. And they forget what they knew before they were born. They got hoodwinked. Then they let other people tell them what you're supposed to seek, what you're supposed to have, what happiness is, what you're supposed to desire. I've got news for you. If you go around trying to seek what the TV tells you is going to make you happy, you'll go fucking insane. There's no such thing. The depression rate in Hollywood is at like 99.9%. You think all those people in those glass houses over there are happy? They might be now that God's here cleaning up the fucking mess. But let me tell you something. Those are some of the most miserable people here. When you get hoodwinked and you fall for that, understand that if you have what you call a less than perfect body, you designed it. And then that leaves you one or two possibilities. That you were a good person last lifetime that had plenty of money and wanted to challenge yourself to not become judgmental and to find true love. Or you were an asshole last lifetime and you didn't have enough money to pick a good body because maybe you were a mean girl or maybe you were an asshole. But I tell you often, more times than not, it's the latter. It's the person choosing to challenge themselves so that they can find true happiness. Everybody wants a unified field. That's the greatest gift here, not becoming a Hollywood celebrity or fucking all the money in the world. Unifying your field with true love is the most blissful blessing there is on this planet. All you people that keep lying to yourself and trying to set up delusional theories on life, I'm giving it to you from the horse's mouth. You have a system of trust accounts, and that's why it says on the money, in God we trust. This hand sign doesn't mean the devil. It means Social Security trust in God. Let me tell you something. All you people that come here and act like bastards, your accounts go so low, you end up having to be a fucking fruit fly. Get smushed with a fucking newspaper a few billion times, work your way up to a cockroach. You know what I'm saying? All the way back up through the cycle. All these people, when I mentioned Nick Wojcik and Rowdy, how long do you think they blamed God before they picked themselves up and said, wait a minute here. If I'm here for a reason. I don't know what that reason is right now, but there's a reason. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't supposed to be. And if this is the body I'm in, it must have been the exact body I was supposed to be in to do what I'm here to do. I tell you this, by 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, those kids were there. They knew. They set themselves a challenge and they surpassed it. They destroyed it. They make God look slow. You people don't get it. Stop fucking taking your challenges that you set yourself and passing the buck. That's the biggest fallacy in this culture, is everybody wants to pass the buck on what your challenges are in life. You set your own challenges. When you understand that people that are born in what they would call less than ideal circumstances, they're accomplishing the greatest thing that's ever been accomplished in all of life. They're reunifying with the field of love. They're choosing the hardest, most difficult path of adversity there is. When you figure that out, go and study the names I'm giving you, Rowdy or I think it's Rowdy Burton or Nick Wojcik. Go and look at these people. Look at how they go through life. And then sit there and ask yourself, who are you to sit here and be throwing rocks at everybody? If these people can be happy and accept their challenges, how can't you? How can't you accept the things that you place before yourself? And I'll tell you one thing about that path that makes it gives you, it's the toughest, most difficult thing, but at some point you come to that realization that you would not be here if you were not meant to be. That something bigger than you is going on. You're a living example of willpower and perseverance, dedication, a way to show everybody who sits and talks about all the things they can't do, how all they are is people talking about what can't be done. Those accounts are a lot more real than you people realize. You all need to sit back and reevaluate your situations. Figure out what challenges you set yourself in life. Instead of lashing out unconsciously at everybody else. Because that's all of you are doing. It's disgusting. My oath is to protect Earth. Above everything, Earth is the number one thing on my protect list. Then humanity, then my family. So when you figure that out and understand that if you burn, it's a mere disappointment to me, the people who burn. You've been properly told what's real. The word has been brought forth through you, and you're just too foolish to figure it out. It'll be disappointing. That's it. To me, at the end of the day, I will be here with people who are the strongest, most loving people this planet has ever known when this is over. So if you think you're the kids that bully people like that, you're the people that pick on people like that. So if you burn, you know what? Some of my creation couldn't figure it out. But you know what? The peace that everyone else will have, I really actually probably won't even be that disappointed, because our planet will be able to heal, go back to normal, rise above. Because that's what all of life is about, rising above. Same as the examples I gave of Mr. Wojciech and Mr. Burton. They've rose above. They didn't let anyone tell them what they can and can't do. That's what it means when we say this world is made for the strong. Don't use the twisted illusion that these racist and hateful people and unconscious people use. Use Nick Wojciech or Rowdy Burton as the example of only the strong survive. Because that's what the true meaning is. Not letting anyone else fill your head with all the things you can't do in life. You know how many times that they used to have to probably hear what they weren't able to do with life, what they'll never be able to do, yet they do it. They go out and they do it. They don't have a it can't happen attitude. They're no limit soldiers.